Hey folks, you are most welcome to this amazing episode of Rax Riches and which is being presented by Rising Beings. So we have an interesting guest who is going to share with us that uh, how he started from India and reached USA doing the amazing business. So dear guest, you are most welcome on the show.
Thanks so much, Abhinandan. I appreciate that. How's everybody doing?
Everything is going amazing, brother. And let me just share with you the story that you have, the story that you have shared with me has been
Sure.
literally amazing. And let me just tell you, the audience is super excited to know the entire journey, that how you have been through it and what is the business that you are currently doing. So people would love to know a little of your intro.
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Kabir Wolf. I was actually not born with this name. I was born with the name Kabir Aslam. And I was born in India. I was born in Bangalore in India. And I grew up there, didn't get very good grades in school, didn't do very well in college, didn't do very well in university either. But I always found opportunities. So, starting from when I was 8 years old, 9 years old, I started the small food delivery service that I was selling food to my friends, my family, my neighbors, things like that. And as I continued to grow, I became older and I started a food delivery service in my hostel in college. And then after that, I opened up my own restaurant when I was 17 years old. And finally, I moved to the US. My mom got married to an American, and I was gifted with the opportunity to come here to the US. And I took full advantage of that. I went through by being a busboy when I started out in Los Angeles, went out to become a server, went out to start working as a line cook. And then at some point in my life, I was doing four different jobs as a Uber driver, DoorDash delivery driver, all these different things. And really, I bring this up to make one really simple point, which is that it doesn't matter where you start from. If you start in a place where you're not fortunate enough to have everything, you're not gifted with riches, and you're not gifted with all of these things in life, which we think that the part of the lucky sperm club. I'm sure we've all heard of that, right? So
Right.
even if you're not born in the lucky sperm club, it can still be that you can decide your destiny for the future, because you can make those decisions to change the rest of your future. And that's exactly what I did. I made decisions every step of the way that I was going to be better than everything else. I was going to be better than my circumstances. So, especially coming from India, and I know that you come from India as well. So, especially coming from India, knowing that, sometimes the cards are stacked against us. Sometimes, all the odds are against us. But we've got two choices in that moment. We can either look at it and say, oh no, my life sucks. I've got all these things that don't go for me. I don't have this. I don't have that. I didn't have a rich family. I grew up in a poor place. Sure. And that can be your narrative. And then that will continue to be your narrative for the rest of your life. But more importantly, what I gave myself was that, sure, maybe I came from this place, but that doesn't mean that's where I'm going. I get to change my destiny. I get to decide where I'm going to go in the future and how I'm going to shape my life. So that's kind of like a little bit of a brief of the story here. And that's how I started out. And it all comes down to the mindset. It all comes down to how do you change your mindset and how are you able to look beyond what your circumstances are? Because it's not what happens that matters, it's what you do about it that matters most. If you're above 18 years old and you're living in 2024, where we've got something beautiful like the internet, with things like the internet, anything is available to us. Information age we live in. Any information that you want, YouTube University, it's free. Everything is available to us. So the only reason that you don't have the information you need to succeed is because you're not willing to do the research, because you're not willing to educate yourself. And education does not happen in school and college. In fact, I've dropped out of school, dropped out of college, got kicked out of school, all kinds of stuff. That's not where my education came from. My education came from YouTube University, from coaches, from mentors, from seminars, from doing personal development. Because when you go on that journey of personal development, this is the biggest asset that you can possibly invest in. Not the stock market, not real estate, not anything else. This right here. And when you're able to invest in the real estate between your years, that's the highest ROI that you'll ever get. Does that answer your question,
Right.
Abhinandan?
Bro, you just bombarded a lot of, super insights out there, right? And I really loved all of them. You just mentioned that today we are living in 2024, and the best thing that we have is the internet, and you can make hell lot of money What you just need is stay focused, choose one thing, stay focused, and get the stuff done, right? So that's how what I
Absolutely.
feel, that while I was communicating with you, you mentioned that you also have a coaching business. So when I
Yes.
say that choose one thing, go all in, build it up, sell it up, right? Sell it up means when you build it up, you go tell others how did you do it, right? So there are a lot of things that we have. So what I especially focus on is that how to productize your knowledge and how to sell your expertise. In the other way, we call it how to uplift others by with the help of your own expertise, right? So that's what something we would be
Yes.
communicating today. So now I would want you to throw some light on about coaching business, how it is done, and uh, because there are a lot of stuff is going in the market about the coaching. So what do you think about
Yes.
coaching business and how it is done?
Yeah, great question. See, Abhinandan, I think the coaching business is about contribution. For me specifically, from a very young age, from the age of 8 9 years old, something like that, specifically living in India, we get money from our family, we get money from our friends for our birthdays, right? And my mother, what she used to make me do is she'd make me take out 50% of that money and go out to the restaurants, and you've seen this specifically in Delhi, in Mumbai, in the slums of India. This exists everywhere. You go outside a restaurant and there's like 30 people sitting outside the restaurant, and you go and you give the shopkeeper, the restaurant owner, you give him a couple hundred rupees. And then what he does is he says 20 people, 30 people, and these people come and you're able to feed them. So I was able to see that from a very young age. And what that instilled in me, of course, as a kid, I was very annoyed with my mother that she was taking away my pocket money, my birthday money to feed the homeless. I didn't care about the homeless at that point. But there was an important value that my mom was instilling in me. And that value was the value of contribution. Because when we live our life for ourselves, when we're just selfish and we're saying me, myself, and I, there's no satisfaction that comes. And success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. I truly believe that. So, how do you get that fulfillment? That fulfillment comes when you're able to come from a sense of contribution, when you're able to contribute to somebody else's life. I just finished a session yesterday with one of my coaching clients, and one of the signature products I offer is a 10-hour long breakthrough session. And during this breakthrough session, we spoke about all kinds of different things, baggage that he had been holding on to for generations, even. He's 40 years old, and we spoke about things that he had been holding on to since he was 2 years old, since he was 7 years old. And I have a process where we even go back multiple generations. He was holding on to some stuff from 5 generations ago. Can you imagine being whoever you are today because you're holding on to some trauma from 5 generations ago? It's not even in your control, but you're holding on to it. And I had the ability to be able to go into his brain, go into his unconscious mind, and find that baggage and release it. That level of contribution to be able to impact somebody else's life at such a high level, there's really nothing like it, Abhinandan. And when you're able to see from that perspective, then the coaching business makes sense. When I started out my coaching business, I honestly did not set out to be a coach. When I went for the trainings to become a coach, I went because I wanted the personal development for myself. And then at the end of it, there was an optional certification. And I said, you know what? What's the worst? Let me get another certificate, right? Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? So I got the certification and I didn't do anything for it. For a whole year, I didn't do anything. Slowly, friends and family started coming to me. Hey, can you give me some advice on this? Can you give me some advice on this? Can you help me out with this? I see you're doing so much. Can you help shed some light on this? And that's when I realized that, hey, maybe I should start charging some of these people for what I'm doing. And from there, I built my coaching business. When I started my coaching business, I had my own limiting beliefs. And I was charging, I think it was $75 an hour, $80 an hour, something like that. Very low amount of money. Today, literally, my client yesterday, he paid me $1,000 an hour. That's my current rate today. And to go from $75 an hour to $1,000 an hour, how do you do it? Well, it's because you become more valuable to the marketplace. Jim Rohn talks about this a lot. He says you don't get paid for your time, you get paid for the value you bring to the marketplace. Now, he understands that it takes time to bring value to the marketplace, but you don't get paid for your time, you get paid for the value. So, how do you make more money? You become more valuable. And as a coach, I've realized that because every single year I'm able to increase my rates and I'm able to charge more to my clients because I'm more valuable. My advice is more valuable. I'm able to help people at a much higher level, go even deeper, even faster, and release those things even more powerfully. So that's really a little bit about how the coaching business works. Today, I feel like in the marketplace, a lot of people want to become coaches prematurely. You can't coach somebody on something that you've never done. The reason that I'm able to command the kind of respect that I command right now in the coaching industry, the kind of the rates that I command right now in the industry, is because I've got the experience, because I've built multiple businesses, because I've exited a company, because I've had a company go bankrupt even. I've had these different experiences, and from each of those experiences, I've been able to learn. And that learning experience, that's what's allowed me to now go and coach people. A lot of people these days say, I'm going to become a coach, but they haven't done anything themselves. You have no credibility to become a coach. So if you're looking at getting a coaching business or starting a coaching business for yourself, my advice to anybody who wants to get into a coaching business is first do something worthy so that you can then coach somebody. Or don't pick a niche that you're not fully familiar with. And we can all be coaches in our own way because we're all familiar with something or the other. We've all done something that we excel in more than somebody else. So don't try to coach in business if you've done really well as an athlete. Become an athletic coach. And vice versa. Don't try to coach in athletics if all you've done is build businesses. If you ask me to coach you on how to play basketball, even though I played basketball for my school team when I was in school, I can't coach you on how to play basketball. I was at the bottom of the bottom. I was kicked off the team multiple times. I was made to sit on the bench. So if I try to coach you on how to play basketball, that would be silly of me. I don't have the expertise to do that. But if you want to talk about business, now I've done that multiple different times. Today, I've got 8 different businesses, all kinds of employees. I've got a little empire for myself. So I've got the authority to be able to coach you. So that's really my advice to anybody who is looking at starting a coaching business or getting into a coaching business. And the same way I'd look at it if you're looking to hire a coach. What are the credentials of your coach? What is the coach offering you? And you have to think about what the coach is giving you in exchange for the money that you're giving him. Most people, for example, some people who want to hire me as a coach, they look at my rates and they say, $1,000 an hour, forget it, I can't afford it. But let me ask you this. If I gave you the winning lottery ticket and I said, here's the winning lottery ticket, this ticket is going to win $10 million. All you got to do is pay me $50,000 for it. It's the winning ticket. I've already checked the numbers. Here's the winning ticket. Normal ticket costs $2. I'm asking for $50,000 for this ticket, but it's going to win you $5 million. I already know it. Would you pay the $50,000? The answer is, of course you would.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't have it, you would find a way to get the money because you know that you're going to get your return on that. And that's what coaching is all about. It's about buying the winning lottery ticket. Successful people don't ask what's the cost of something. Successful people ask what's the value. Because if I was trying to sell you a backpack and I said, Abhinandan, here's a backpack, give me $1,000 for it. Some people might look at that and say, I'm not paying $1,000 for a backpack. I can get the same backpack for $20. Successful people will ask, what's in the backpack?
Right. That's something what is true. And people just go on jumping into, uh, the one limiting belief is that uh, what is there for me, and if it is not for me, I'm not gonna get it. Right. And they want the cheap things just to show that just to look better. Right.
You buy cheap things, you get cheap results. And I mean, I have a lot of friends who are millionaires. I don't have any billionaire friends yet. I have met a few people, but I wouldn't really consider them friends. But I've got a lot of millionaire friends. And you look at some of my millionaire friends, they dress down. They're not dressing in fancy Gucci, Versace. They don't care about all that stuff. Maybe if they have a fancy car, it's because of the passion. Like I drive a $5,000 beat up 2002 car. I don't care for those things. That's not what makes my heart happy. What makes my heart happy? I can get to travel the world whenever I want. Just next week, I'm going to Mexico. Week after that, I'm actually going to India for 2 weeks. Then I'm going to be in Peru for a week and a half. I get to travel wherever I want to go, whenever I want to go at the drop of a hat. To me, that's way bigger of a flex than wearing the fancy Versace and all of that. This is a Walmart shirt I bought for $15. I don't care for
Right.
the $200 shirt for the $3,000 suit. Now, if I'm speaking on stage, yeah, sure, I've got a couple fancy suits that I'll wear as well if I'm speaking on stage because I'm making an impression at that point. But in my daily life, there's no need for $1,000 chain and $5,000 jewelry and things like that. I believe in more practical stuff. Like, for example, this ring that I have, it's the Aura ring. It's a $400 ring. Now, for the average person, they would never buy this. It doesn't look fancy. It doesn't look bling. It looks like a $20 ring. But why would I pay $400 for it? Because it helps me track my health. It tracks my heart rate variability, it tracks my sleep, it tracks my stress levels, it tracks all these different things. To me, that's important. So successful people understand where to put their money. Unsuccessful people try to look rich. Look at Jeff Bezos, look at Mark Zuckerberg. They dress down. They're not dressing in all these fancy things. That's not what successful people actually do. Stop
Right.
focusing on the image that you're going to give other people and start focusing on the image that you're giving yourself. And the image
Right.
that you're giving yourself comes from the mindset, the real estate between your ears. That's what I keep coming back to. That's the most important thing, the real estate between your ears, how you think, how you behave, and as a result, how you act. Because thoughts become feelings, and those feelings become actions. So if you've got bad thoughts in your mind, let me give you an example. Two people, car crash, boom, at an intersection. One guy gets out of the car and goes, "Oh my God, why is this happening to me? Why, God? Why? What did I do wrong in my life?" Second guy gets out of the car and goes, "Thank God I'm alive. What a great day to be alive. It was time to replace that old piece of junk car, anyways. And insurance is going to cut me a huge check." Same accident, two different perspectives. It's not what happens that matters, it's what you do about it that matters most.
Right. That's something true. So see, why are we discussing all these things? Because everything starts with the mindset, right? So
Yes.
if we do not have our mindset on the point, on the track, nothing is going to happen. And there's one more thing I would want you to clarify this. It goes like this. A lot of people say that everybody is becoming a coach nowadays. So you better figure out who is that person trying to coach you. Is that person has done enough of what he is trying to teach, what he is trying to coach you on something? If he or she does not have the same results for himself or herself, that person isn't eligible for coaching. What is
I
your thought on
100%
this?
agree with that. I think I
Right.
fully agree with that. I mean, and that's exactly why, for example, one of the clauses that I have in my contract is a 100% money back guarantee. That means at the end of our coaching session, if you don't get the result that you came there for, you can have 100% of your money back. I don't want any of it. Why do I give that guarantee? Because that proves that I know what I'm doing. I've never had to refund anybody, and I never will in the future. And I'll tell you why. Because before I take on a coaching client, I do an intake call. I do a call to understand who is the person, what's their model of the world, and how are they thinking. I'm not going to take on a client that's got limited thinking. I'm not going to take on a client like that. One of the sayings that I speak with some of my friends, and we joke about this. They say that here's the difference between a $5 client, a $50 client, and a $5,000 client. The $5 client asks you 100 questions, goes back and forth, and then when he finally buys that, he says, "Thank God I invested in this. I'm so, I'm excited for this journey with you and all of that." And what did he buy? An ebook or something like that for $5. All right. $50 client. I've asked my wife, I've asked my boss, I've asked my family. I think this would be a good investment for us. $5,000 client says, "Man, I'm pumped to do this. Let's go." You know what the $50,000 client says? "Invoice paid, check mark." That's it.
Right. Right.
I
And
work with the $50,000 client. I'm working with the person who understands the value of the coaching. Because if I have to sell you on the coaching, then you're not my client. There are plenty of other coaches out there. You can go and work with them. I'm looking to add value in your life. If you can't see that, then I'm not the right person for you. And that's okay. I'm not for most people. I'm a high performance coach and I'm a results coach. And I only coach the top 5%, 10% of people. I'm not a beginner coach. So if you're a beginner and if you've got all of these limiting beliefs in your mind, I'll help you overcome them, but you've got to meet me halfway. The things that I do are a do with process. They are not a do to process. And most people expect, I paid for this coaching. Now you're just going to wave your magic wand and fix me. That's not how coaching works. It's a do with process. You've got to be able to do it with me, and I'll work with you through the traumas, through everything that you have, but it's a do with process. I don't have a magic wand. So
right.
I don't know if that answers your question or
Right.
not.
See, it's just simple. In just one or two sentences, I would like to say it is like this. Let's say you are standing at a corner of a bridge. You are willing to reach another corner of the bridge. The only thing is that there is a person, right? There is a middleman who has that tool to get you from this corner to that corner, right? So you are there.
Yeah.
Now you will have to put in the effort to go on that, although you have to pay to that tool, right? To go from this corner to that
Yes.
corner, you'll have to put in the effort. It's not that he'll take you from there and he'll put in you there. No, it's you who's have to put in the effort actually. So that's what it is
Of
all about.
course.
That's how it goes. And like after communicating with a lot of my 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure business friends, I really learned the game, right? So it's really
That's it.
interesting. It's really interesting, right? So let's
And
go
to
ahead.
close the loop on that, yeah, I just wanted to add one last thing to close the loop on that thought. When we spoke about in the beginning as well, right? We spoke about we live in 2024, all the information is out there. Successful people have written books on how they did it, and nobody reads it. Like it's like you buying that tool to cross the bridge and you're not
Rate
using it. You buy the
people, rate
tool
them.
and then you keep it on your back and you just try to walk yourself. You got the tool, bro. Use the tool. People buy more books than they read. Like,
Right,
I think in my entire lifetime, I've maybe read 50 books, but I've implemented every single one of the things. There are people that read 50 books a year, but don't do anything about it. What are you going to do with all this? You got to implement the knowledge. Getting the knowledge is only part one. You got to first buy the book, part one. Part two, read the freaking book. And part three, implement the stuff you read in the book. Because no point buying the book and reading the book if you're not going to do something about it.
right. So these are books that I've read in 4 years, and I just can't tell you how my life had transformed in just 4 to 5 years. That has been
Yes.
tremendous, right? Moving forward to the next question over here. What is the structure of building a coaching business?
Well, I think the structure, when you talk about like structure, do you mean like specifically how do you get clients? How do you build a business? Or what
Right,
could you specify the question a little
right,
more?
right. Structure means how do you like build your course, if it is the course kind of thing like recorded, if it is live, how do you do it, if it is consulting, how do you do it, how do you get the clients, what are the criteria that you
Yeah.
look for, how do you keep the pricing out there, everything.
So in business, something that's really important to remember, and this is true of any business, right? You've got to create raving fans. And more than anything, you've got to create a raving fan culture. Like, for example, one of my clients, in fact, this last client that I did yesterday, he was recommended to me by a friend of mine who was never coached with me. How did he recommend them? Because he's a raving fan of mine, because he sees my free content out there. You've got to make yourself visible. Don't be the best kept secret in the world. Like, I post 5 times a day on social media. I've got a team of 46 different people working on my social media content. That's not how it started. I started out with me, just me. And then there was me and one other guy, then me and two other guys, me and three other guys. Now we've got a team of 46 people that just focus on my content. And I'm able to put so much content out there, such a big volume of content that I get eyeballs on my brand. And as people are looking at me, so we all know about the classic know, like, and trust, right? Nobody knows you, that they're not going to do business with you. Once they know you, they've got to like you. And the way you do that is connecting with them through your free content. One of the things that I do is I have a free 90-minute training that I do every couple of weeks as well. It's called the Habits of Successful People. And on that training, all I do is add value, add value, add value. And at the end of it, I don't sell anything. All I sell, or what I sell, is a 1 hour free coaching call. So not just did I give you 90 minutes of free value, I'm now giving you the opportunity to get on a 1 hour call with me for free as well. And at the end of that, now we can speak and go, oh my God, because now you've seen my free content, you've gotten value from that, you've gotten to know me, you've gotten to like me. And through the free training, I've built up the trust. So now you've got the trust in me. And then after that, when I do the 1 hour coaching call, I've added massive value. That's the secret to any business, specifically the coaching business. When you add more value than any of your competitors, you will have no choice but to succeed. But you've got to lead with value. You can't lead with the ask. Most people do that these days. They'll run one ad and get people to a sales call. That doesn't work. You haven't shown me anything. What's your authority to sell me on this coaching program? Which is why I have my content, and then I have my free training, and then I do the 1 hour coaching call. And then I say, hey, now I think I should work with you. And by this point, I've also made a judgment on what the person is. Is this person willing to change? Is this person coachable? So many people, again, like I said earlier, people think that coaches have this magic wand that's just going to swish and change everything. That's not
Right.
how coaching works. It's a process. So that's what I'm judging as well on the free coaching call, is this person coachable? Is this person going to be able to come up to the level where I can help them? Because if I don't think I can help them, that's not going to work. The practitioner, who's the coach, their belief of whether or not the coaching will work is the most important thing. If the coach doesn't believe that the person can change, the person won't change. The coach's belief is most important. So I have to first form that belief. That's the job of a coach. The job of a coach is putting his belief of you can do it onto the other person. That's it. Everything is about belief change, belief mindset. So coming back to, how do you structure a coaching business? You first add value, add value, add value, add value, and stop looking for shortcuts. I've been building my coaching business now for 2.5 years. And only now am I at a point where I'm now making a significant amount of money from it, maybe $30,000, $40,000 a month. When I started, I was making what, $2,000 a month, $1,000 a month, $500 a month off of my coaching business. Nothing. If I had given up then I wouldn't have gotten where I am now. I had to build and build and build and build and grow and learn and grow and learn and grow and learn. And now I am where I am. And 10 years from now, I'm going to be looking back at today and going, oh my God, my coaching business was so small. Look at where I am now. Now
Right.
I'm appearing on multiple podcasts. I'm doing 2 podcasts a week right now. I'm meeting up with all kinds of different people. I'm being invited to stages to be a keynote speaker. That was not the case 3 years ago when I started. Most people expect everything as soon as they start. I've created a website. I ran an ad. Why is it not working? Because you got no authority, bro.
Right.
Does that
So,
answer your question, Abhinandan?
right. That's something what is true. That is something what is true. You literally start small, right? Because I see a lot of people say to me that talking is easy, doing is tough. And I just told them, then do it, man. Then do it,
Just do it.
right?
Absolutely.
So while you are saying it,
Doing it wrong.
right,
I would rather somebody did it wrong than just didn't do it at all. Because here's the thing, when you do it wrong, you have the ability to be able to modify and go, okay, hey, I messed this up. Let me fix it and let me move forward, right? But if you've not even done it, you don't even know that you messed up.
right,
You got to do it to know that you messed up. And then once you realize, okay, I messed up, now you can fix it. And the same thing with making decisions, right? Successful people make decisions in a heartbeat. I don't take time to make any decision. I make my decisions in one instant. That's it. I don't care how big or how small the decision is. Because when you make a decision, you're going to make a decision wrong 50% of the time, anyways. And that's true whether you make a decision in one instant or whether you take 10 years or 10 minutes or 10 months to make a decision.
right.
Unsuccessful people, I say, I'll think about it. I'll speak to my wife. I'll speak to my boss. I'll speak to my dog.
All right,
You got to make a decision quick so that once you make the decision quick, if it's the wrong decision, you have time to correct it. Because an unsuccessful person that takes 1 year to make a decision to go into a business, I made that decision in one day, started the business, realized it's not a good business, closed the business or restarted the business, modified all of that. 1 year from now, I'm on my 10th attempt. And 1 year from now, the unsuccessful person is just starting the first attempt. Even if you make the decision wrong, that's not what's important. What's important is to make the decision.
all right, all right. I get it. And what do I understand by what you are saying is, I'll say it in one liner. It's your business. It's none of others' business, I think.
Exactly. One of
Right.
my favorite quotes, I forget who it's by, is my belief system does not require you to believe in it for it to work.
Perfect. That's really interesting, bro. Let's talk about a little of money over here. You know, I see
Sure.
that at that you have built a business of over $500,000, right? And you mentioned you are somebody who used to be a common boy from India, and I could
Yes.
relate it with. And the people who are watching out there, if they come from a common background, they would also be able to relate it with. Charging $70, I firmly believe once when you started, it was a lot of money, right? $70
Of course.
an hour.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
you have scaled your business to $500,000. How does your mindset work? And how do you think now? How you think that how you were when you were making $70 per hour? Now you are making $1,000 per hour with your, coaching consulting business, right?
Yes.
How it has changed.
So, Abhinandan, 2 words that'll make it really easy for you and really easy for the audience to follow. Think bigger. You've got to think bigger. Because if you're, let me ask you this, the person that makes $1 million a year and the person that makes $100,000 a year and the person that makes $10,000 a year, do you think that they're thinking differently? that they have different mindsets? The guy that's making $1 million a year, if he sees that his house needs to be cleaned, do you think he's going to say, I got to make 2 hours out of my day to go clean the house? Or do you think he's going to say, let me pull up my phone and find a cleaning service? What do you think he's going to do? It's pretty obvious. He's going to find a cleaning service, right? But the guy
Right.
who's making $10,000 an hour is trying to do everything himself. So you got to pretend like you're already making $1 million and act as if. And it's not fake it till you make it. I don't believe in fake it till you make it. I believe in you've got to see it in your mind's eye first. Because unless you can see it as the real, then it's not going to happen for you. And when you're chasing your dreams, when you're going after it, there's got to be 3 core beliefs that you have in order to be successful. The first core belief when you're going after the treasure of whether it's $1 million for you or $10 million or $100 million, whatever that treasure is for you, when you're going after that treasure, you got to believe these 3 things. And the first one is you got to believe that it's there. If you don't believe that there is a treasure there, if you don't believe that you can build $1 million business, it's never going to happen. That's the first core belief you've got to have, that it is there. And you got to behave like it is there. You may not have it yet. I understand that. But you got to believe that it's there. And the second one, that is, you got to believe that you will find it. You will find this treasure. You will find a way to make this business happen. In fact, you'd make it a must. I must find it. I must find a way to build this business. So the first one is you got to believe it's there. The second one, you got to will to find it. You got to must find it. I must find it. And the third one, which is the most important, you got to believe that it's worth it. You got to believe that it's worth it for whatever you're going to have to put into it to get there. You got to believe it's there. You got to believe you'll find it. And you got to believe that it's worth it. If you don't have any of these 3 beliefs, you're not going to go after the treasure. You're not going to go after it. To me, I'm going after something significantly bigger. The mission of my life is to positively impact 1 billion lives. We're only 8 billion in this world. That's an eighth of the world that I'm looking to impact. That is a huge number of people. I got to believe that it's there. That means it's possible. I got to believe that I will be able to do it. I will find it. And I got to believe that it's worth it. If I don't believe these 3 things, it's not going to happen for me. Does that make sense?
Right. That does make sense. And what you just tried telling people is that believe it's there, and you are halfway there. Right.
More than halfway, brother. Because most people don't even believe it's out there. Most people, see, it's easier to go into a victim mentality. Oh, I
Right.
was born into a poor family. I was born in a poor country. My father's an alcoholic. My mom abused me. Yeah, cool. You can very easily go into a negative mindset whenever you want. You can go into it in an instant, and just like that. You know, Tony Robbins says this one thing which really sticks with me. He says, what's wrong is always available to you. So is what's right. You got to choose what you focus on. What are you focusing
Right.
on? Because what you focus on is what you're going to have more of. Where focus goes, energy flows. And everything in this world is energy. And if you can
Right.
put energy into a thought, if you can put energy into something, it will show up for you. And I'm
Right.
sure you've heard of the reticular activating system. And for those of you who haven't on this, I'll tell you real quick. When you buy a red car, suddenly you're driving on the road and everybody sees red car, red car, red car, red car. How is it that everybody has a red car? Did everybody just buy red cars? No. It's because you activated something in your brain called the reticular activating system. And now all you do is you focus on that because you're thinking about red car, you're focusing red car, red car, red car, red car. That's it. Our brain, through our VACOG, which is our 5 senses, our visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory, our 5 senses, our minds see 200 million bits of information, BPS, bits per second of information, 2 million per second. Guess what we can consciously process? 126. On a good day, 126. That's it. There's 2 million bits of information that you're taking in through your 5 senses all the time, and you can only focus on 126. Which
Right.
126 you focus on is what's going to dictate how the quality of your life is.
Right. So that's something interesting. And the session was literally amazing. And I really would like to take a second over here and would like to say thank you to the audience who has been listening to us. And I would like to say thank you to my dear guest as well. And I'll drop his website link or his group link in the description so people could find it.
Thanks so much, Abhinandan. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the wonderful podcast that you have with Rising Beings. I really love the concept, and I'm excited to see where this podcast